Hi, T. Carlson here. I love cinema. I certainly love horror movies, and when the boutique labels out there start remastering and reissuing horror movies, I'm always interested in jumping on board. A few years back, I purchased this disc, but never got around to reviewing it on my channel. Since I'm kind of short of funds right now and won't be buying as many movies, I'm probably going to be covering some stuff that I own but might not have covered the first time around. Today we're looking at Suspiria, directed by Dario Argento. I'm going to unbox this release and I will share my opinions. Nice shot of the front cover there. That's very demonic and scary looking. This release was put out by a company called Synapse Films. I'm not familiar with that company, and I don't think I've ever owned anything that they've put out before. So that, of course, had me very curious about this release. There is reversible artwork inside the sleeve, which I've already reversed. This has something more akin to the classic poster art you would have seen back around 1977 when this movie first came out. Inside the case, we have the film on a 4K disc, and we also have a Blu-ray disc included that has the bulk of the bonus features. Now, the Blu-ray only includes bonus features. It does not include the film. So just giving fair warning there if you're planning on buying this and don't yet own a 4K player. I'll read the description of the film as follows from the packaging. Synapse Films brings their award-winning restoration of Dario Argento's horror masterpiece to 4K UHD. Jessica Harper stars in this frightening tale of a young student who uncovers dark and horrific secrets within the walls of a famous German dance academy. What spirals from that simple premise is one of the most powerful and hallucinatory nightmares ever captured on cellular. Dario Argento's Suspiria comes to home video from Synapse Films, an exclusive new 4K restoration from the original uncut, uncensored 35mm Italian camera negative with the original theatrical 4.0 English surround sound mix. Synapse Films' beautifully restored version of Dario Argento's Suspiria was completed with the supervision and approval of the film's director of photography, Luciano Tovoli. Now available for the first time ever on home video in a true 2160 4K presentation with high dynamic range and a new Dolby Atmos remix. I love a good horror movie, and I certainly love going back in time and rediscovering some of the ones that I missed before. Suspiria was actually remade a few years ago by filmmaker Luca Guadagnino in a film that starred Tilda Swinton playing multiple characters. I did see that remake actually before I saw the original film, and I have to admit I was a bit underwhelmed by it. I thought it dragged on forever needlessly and just didn't really accomplish much with its runtime despite some eerie, horrific images. The original 77 film, directed by Dario Argento, clocks in at just under 100 minutes. And in that relatively short duration, there are certainly some shocking, vivid moments that will stick in your mind long after you're done watching the film. Again, the movie revolves around a young girl who comes to Germany to study at a dance academy. It's not long before things begin going horrifically wrong. On her first night there, she's shunned by the person on the other end of the door buzzer, and there is a pretty vivid killing that certainly sets the scene for what's to come, even if nothing that comes after is quite that gory or shocking. And throughout, we just start to see a lot of odd suspicion and goings-on, and Argento proves to be a master of suspense and creating an atmosphere that's very unsettling, which really keeps your attention when it comes to the film. It's a well-cast movie. One thing interesting about this movie is it doesn't really have like a big name star in it, but I think this actually works to the movie's advantage because you're not drawn away by that star power, you're actually engrossed by the story. Well, I will admit that there are moments of the movies that do tend to drag out, and of course, it's not always going to be shocking every single second, but during that time, Argento does a great job just, again, setting the atmosphere and, of course, setting the stage for those gory, gruesome moments to come. And when they come, they certainly stick in your head. The conclusion of the film, of course, certainly speaks for itself. It's certainly an all-around excellent film, and it's pretty well paced for the most part. It's also interesting to note that it's actually a very colorful film, using a lot of bright, bold colors, which is a pretty sharp contrast to the horror movies that were coming out in America at the time. Suspiria is something of an underrated masterpiece, and when it comes to the filmography of Dario Argento, which is certainly pretty wide, diverse, and interesting, this is one that's worth going back and rediscovering. There was a lot of talk on the box, of course, about how this was an award-winning restoration. I'm always skeptical when it comes to revisiting classic films on Blu-ray or 4K, or really any format for that matter. But I must say, everything that you heard me say from the back of that package is 100% right. This is one of the greatest looking 4K discs I have ever seen. Synapse Films has put together a bright, bold, beautiful color palette here that makes excellent work of HDR, from deeper, darker black levels and shadow detail to bright vibrancy added to those colors that we see throughout the film. I own a ton of 4K movies. I've reviewed a ton of 4K movies on this channel. This may very well be the best looking 4K disc I have ever seen, and I don't use those words lightly. So again, if you already own this film on some other format, this is absolutely worth the double dip. Classic films don't look any better than this, and it even rivals the 4K discs of a lot of newer films. A lot of movies tend to suffer when there's more monochromatic scenes where there's just like one shade of a color in a scene, but this movie doesn't even struggle with those. Again, absolutely fantastic looking transfer, top marks all around. And on top of that, we get a ton of bonus features on that included Blu-ray disc as well. The 4K disc gives us the option of watching the film with either the original Italian opening and closing credits or English language ones. And then, of course, we get the bulk of the bonus features on that included disc, including various interviews with cast and crew, many featurettes about Argento and the making of the film, even some trailers and TV spots. It is a pretty nice package, and no fan of the film or any horror fan who might just be curious about the film will be disappointed here. Probably the only minor complaints I have with this package are, again, it does not include a Blu-ray copy of the film, and I really wish that included some kind of booklet or insert and a copy of the soundtrack on CD, because it has a very deep, haunting soundtrack that suits the visuals nicely. I know a lot of releases from some companies get soundtrack CDs, and I wish this had got one too. That said, though, it's a great classic horror film. There's a ton of bonus features, and it is one of the best looking 4K transfers of any film I have ever seen. Absolute highest recommendations for this package. Are you a fan of Suspiria? Do you think it's Dario Argento's finest film? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content, because I'm always posting new videos, and make sure to give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.